All right, so today's topic, we're going to talk about how we use advanced technology in Aldelo Express. Some of the things you may not know about, some of these you should know about, all of these you should talk about and be aware of the kind of technology leadership position that Aldelo has taken in this industry. First off, we were a very early adopter of Windows OS. We started with Windows 3.1.1 back in 1999. At that time, that was the first version of Windows that actually had networking abilities. So we started with Windows 3.1.1 way back in 1999. We were also a very early adopter of touchscreens. Back then, there were very few touchscreen manufacturers. We were one of the first to adopt that technology and use it for point of sale. But EDC was our way of branching away from the traditional way of doing credit card processing, and we created our own. We were one of the first companies to do that, and that product is still viable today. Something else that we are really actually applauded for, when we get our security scans, we get high praises for the back-end security that we have on all our products. Not going to go too deep into it. We don't want to talk about it too much, but you just understand we've got some really high-end security built into the system. Graphics and images were, we were an early adopter of that. While there were other Windows-based point-of-sale systems, there were a couple. We were the first ones to do graphics and images on our buttons. So that was something we were ahead of the curve on. And then came a product called Zero, and its companion product, Aldelo Touch. Zero was a Windows operating system point of sale, touchscreen point of sale, that ran off the SQL Server database. But what made it so special with regard to being advanced was it also had Aldelo Touch, which was a iPad version of the same software. So you had Zero and you had Aldelo Touch, and they actually worked together in the same network. So we actually had Windows and an iPad point of sale system that worked together. That was a Zero and Aldelo Touch. And you're grateful that we did that program, because a lot of the modules that you have now in Aldelo Express were fundamentally started and used in that combination of those two products. So we learned a lot from that, and a lot of those modules have transitioned over and are still yet to transition. We still have more we're going to bring over. How about printer auto recognition? When I first showed this to Epson, for instance, they were blown away that we could actually look for and recognize iOS printers in the network, and then let the operator then assign those to the system. That's very advanced, and still is advanced today. And the next thing is the KDS display and kiosk. The way we program those and assign them in the network through a QR code, very advanced, very simple to do. Really takes care of all the setup and connections of those devices just by scanning those QR codes. So these are just some of the high-level overview of some of the advanced technology that we've brought into the POS industry. Let's talk a little bit more about some specifics. QR codes. We didn't invent them, but boy, do we take advantage of them. We were a very early adopter. We were one of the first people to have QR code pay on the receipt. We use them now everywhere. They are all over the system. Few other ones here. We got fast activation of the peripheral devices. That's where you can scan the QR code to then link the KDS to the network, link a kiosk to the network, and then link a customer display to that terminal. All this is done through the QR code. Makes it very fast and easy to program. Then we have secured employee login. One of the earlier questions we used to get a lot was, can you swipe a employee card to begin the transaction, or swipe the employee card to log into the system? We don't do swipes on an iPad. that would be just another piece of hardware you have to buy. We take advantage of the camera that comes with the iPad, or takes advantage of the camera that comes with the Android terminal, Android tablet. You can scan the QR code on the employee badge, and that is how you can log in securely using a QR code. We can do an item lookup in that we can assign each individual item its own QR code, makes it easier for scanning or for looking up an item. Kiosk item confirmation, we have the ability to type or print a QR code on that kiosk receipt. We can do recalling of orders and recalling of payments using QR codes on the receipt. We also do special offers and coupons. We can print up to 3 different coupons on the bottom of their customer receipt to get them to come back to the site, to come back to the restaurant again. Of course, gifts and rewards on the physical cards. We use the QR codes on those physical cards to then run the transactions. Masa Online is the transactions are generally begun with a QR code. Then we have window stickers that these can be very large. You do not have to print small. They can be 1 foot, 2 foot, huge stickers that allow the diner to scan that QR code, begin the transaction, look at the menu, even pay using the window sticker. We do tableside ordering. What we're finding is, yeah, we do have a kiosk version of the software, but we're finding that the QR code at the table is taking the place of those expensive tablets that are on the table. So instead of spending $500 to $1,000 for a tablet for each table, you can simply put a QR code that is assigned to that table to allow the diner to use their own phone to ring up the order. We do scan and pay, and we also do fast pay. Then there's Masa Plus. This was an absolute game changer in the industry because it was a browser-based POS integrated on a tablet-based system. So you had the browser-based POS, which was unique in its own self, in that it worked on and works on any browser. And it also works on any device. This then did not require a download of an app in order to do QR payments, QR code ordering. You did not have to have any special app download. All they had to do was scan the QR code, and that then popped up the browser-based POS on their device. Didn't matter Android or Apple. This was a very unique situation, and allowed the diner then to put in their own order, pay for their own order without any interference or interactions with the server. And the best of all, it's no cost to the restaurant. Now, what we're doing today is a little bit more advanced, even from where it started with just a POS on a browser. It now gets, you scan the QR code to begin, and it offers then a download of an app from either the App Store or the Google Play Store onto the device. So we now transition to a specific OS specific app for the phone. The platform has expanded beyond where it was initially released. It now includes multiple store gift and multiple store loyalty. And believe it or not, there's more in development. We've got more ideas and more things that we're going to do with the Masa Plus apps on the phones. Another really cool feature we have is facial recognition. This takes full advantage of the camera that's on the iPad. Now, this is a feature that right now is only for iPad. It is literally a third-party app that we've contracted with that we use within the software. So that is why if you're not on Aldelo Pay, you have a cost for this. If you're on Aldelo Pay, it is included with that subscription. But it is a third-party app that utilizes the phone or use the camera on the iPad. It is super fast. It is super secure. And it stores the image for login and manager authorization. So the image is really simple to do. Basically takes your picture and securely holds that in the application. It then will allow you quickly to log into the system to either do point of sale, clock in, or if you're a manager, to authorize the void or refund. It does work with a mask and or hat and glasses. We've tested it. We've tried it with a hat on, mask on, glasses, no glasses. It works in all those different scenarios. I've even tried to trick it by moving part of my face off of the screen, and it still worked very well. So this technology is really good, and it's good, something good to show, because it does reduce or eliminates the buddy punching that you get in a lot of restaurants. So if you have somebody who's trying to steal from the system or trying to scam it with regard to clocking in when they're not there, they can do it by giving somebody their card, but they can't do it if they have their facial recognition turned on. The person has to be there. This is one I learned recently, void recording. We take advantage of the iPad camera and we record who's ever doing the void. We take their picture and we associate that picture with the void in the void report in the back office. So we actually literally know who is doing the void. And it simply is a flag setting in the back office. We just check the box and it turns it on, and we start recording the pictures of the person who's doing the void. Next one is pretty big one. I showed this iOS and Android together in the same network to an ISO this week, and they kept coming back and saying, that's a big deal. I said, yes, it is. And later on in the presentation, something else came up about iOS and Android together. That's a big deal. Over and over again, he recognized how critically important this is, gives the customer plenty of flexibility, gives them complete control over what hardware they want. They're not forced to do anything proprietary. You're truly open architecture when it comes to the hardware. This is a big deal. And I'm not really sure if you understand the significance of this, because it's not just at the cloud level. Some people think that just because we have the cloud version and we're doing the data collection at the cloud, whereas some system might think that they're going to upload from the iPad and upload from the Android, have it merged and then sent back down, that everything is done at the cloud level. But that's not true. This is actually done down at the app level. So you have an Android device that is then going to talk to a printer that's running iOS drivers. You're going to have an Android terminal talking directly to an iPad KDS or an iPad customer display or an iPad kiosk. You have the ability now these devices are actually talking directly to one another. It is not necessary that it go through the cloud in order to do this. So this is actually done at the app level, and it is very, very cool. And it does allow for sharing of kiosk customer displays and KDS. And something else that's really good is it has one set of settings in the cloud. You don't have to go to the Android back of house or the Apple back of house. You go to the Aldelo Express back of house, and the cloud settings there are the same. You check the boxes and download the settings to each individual device. So it is actually very, very complicated when it comes to programming, but it does work seamlessly. They are obviously sharing items and checks at the store level and down to the app level. Next up is one we're going to introduce to you today, one that you've not heard about or seen about. This is one that's new to everyone, and that is artificial intelligence menu item completion. It's just released this week. It is a cloud feature that's going to help you with your database creation. And what it does is help you with your autocomplete of the product name. It's much like what you do when you do a search and you start typing in the search bar, and it populates below that a list of suggested searches. Well, we're going to populate in there a list of suggested item names. And this is true intelligent artificial intelligence, and that it's learning as it goes. What you're going to see here, I'm going to show you the product, and what you're looking at is what it's learned so far. It's taken suggestions from existing customer databases, existing customer product names, and it's trying now to give you suggestions on what you're looking for. Let me go show you what we're talking about. Okay, you're looking now at the back office screen. I'm going to go to, I'm in items setup now. Let's take a look at Tex-Mex. And I'm going to create a new item. I can choose to copy from an existing item to get the basics of the layout of the system. That is the flag settings and the modifiers and whatever. But the item name is what we're going to work on. So it just by clicking, you can see spaghetti is the one that's kind of most popular. If I start entering taco, you're going to see now suggestions for the rest of the item. So if I wanted taco salad, then it just suggested that based upon the lessons that it's learned from our other databases. And as our databases grow, that feature will actually grow more and more. It'll have more suggestions, more complete suggestions, even getting into multiple word suggestions. So the artificial intelligence that we now have in the system, this is our first foray into that area of the programming of the system. We think it's pretty cool, and we do know it's going to increase and speed up your database creation.